So I mentioned this with Baloo earlier, and Florida Gator fans, I'm talking to you. The diehards, the orange and blue blood pumping through your veins. I have a question for you, and my question is a simple one, but maybe the answer is a little more complex. Gator fans are very passionate. Gator fans are very loyal. Gator fans are very stubborn as well, at least most of you. And when you make a decision on something or someone, it does not change. You made a decision on Will Muschamp. Well, first you made a decision on Ron Zook, and he was gone. Then you made a decision on Will Muschamp, and he was gone. You made a decision on Jim McElwain. He was shown the door. And then most recently, you made a decision on Dan Mullen, and he was shown the door. Now, a majority of you, a vast majority of you, have already made a decision on Billy Napier. And in the past, with Zook, Muschamp, McElwain, and Mullen, once the fan base made a decision, well, they didn't win any more games to maybe change your opinion. All four of those guys kind of went in the toilet anyway, and they were either fired or resigned. So there was not a change of heart among Gator Nation. You've made a decision on Billy Napier. Fair enough. He's 11-15 in 26 games. I can't fault you for that. Most of you want Billy Napier gone. Most of you want Lane Kiffin in Gainesville. Maybe we'll get to that at some point down the road. But have you thought about what happens on Saturday at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium at Florida Field if Billy Napier beats Texas A&M? Right? They beat the Aggies. And then next week, they go to Starkville, an 11 a.m. Central kick out in Starkville, and they beat Mississippi State. Well, wait a minute. Then they're all of a sudden 3-1 going into a bye week. And then they come back from that bye week, and they beat UCF to get to 4-1. Have you seen Kentucky lately? They're not any good either. Then you beat Kentucky, and you got 5 wins. Now, it does get harder after that, but stick with me here. Can Billy Napier save himself in your eyes? Can Billy Napier, by stringing together 2, 3, or 4 wins in a row over the next month or so, can he get back in your good graces? Or, just like with Zook, Muschamp, McElwain, and Mullen, has your decision already been made and you really don't care what happens from here on out? Do I expect Florida to rattle off 4, 5, 6 wins in a row? No, I don't. I would be lying to you if I said I did. But it's a what-if scenario. You never had to worry about that with Zook or Muschamp or McElwain or Mullen, because after your mind was made up, the team didn't get any better. There was not a lot of improvement. The only one you could argue was Zook after you fired him. He goes into Doak Campbell Stadium and beats Florida State, but he had already been fired. Certainly Muschamp, McElwain, and Mullen, those teams tanked out to end their respective tenures. What if in this case the opposite happens? What if you've already made your mind up, you want Napier gone, and then he starts rattling off some wins beginning this Saturday against Texas A&M? You know, I remember it wasn't that long ago where Florida fans, some of my brethren, were saying, man, I just wish Mike Norvell would win a couple of games in Tallahassee so Florida State would have to keep him. Mike Norvell is the best thing that's ever happened to Florida Gator football or Miami Hurricane football with what he's doing to Florida State. But then all of a sudden, Mike Norvell did rattle off a couple of wins, and then a couple of more wins, and then a couple of more wins, and recruiting picked up, and all of a sudden, Mike Norvell became one of the best coaches in college football. Yeah, they're off to a slow start this year, but stay with me. Could the same thing happen with Billy Napier? I know it doesn't seem likely, but talk to Florida State fans 2 years ago. Did you ever think 2 years ago you would be signing Mike Norvell to a what was it, an 8-year contract extension? Of course you didn't. Florida State fans, you wanted him out of there. Out of there. Just like Florida wants Billy Napier out of there. But again, what happens if Napier begins to win some games beginning this Saturday against Texas A&M? Is there already past a point of no return for you when it comes to Billy Napier? Or are you open to the idea of sticking with Billy if some wins start accumulating? Hit me up on the text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 641-1010. Denmark, a Florida Gator alum, one of the co-hosts of the award-winning Denmark and Marsh podcast, which, by the way, all kidding aside, you guys do a good job with that.
Thank you.
As a Gator alum, what if Billy Napier does rattle off some wins here beginning Saturday? Can he come back from Gator Nation?
It's the same thing as last year. We'll think that we have something, then we'll go in November, and then we won't have anything. The guy doesn't do anything well to where you want Billy Napier to stay for another year. We all want to, people want to talk about the recruiting. This guy had a top 15 recruiting class last year when it was in the top 5.
All right, let me
There's
ask you
nothing
this.
on the field that he does where it says, I want to keep this guy for next year because he does this so well.
All right, let me ask you this. That's fair. Let's say he beats A&M, Mississippi State, UCF, Kentucky.
Okay.
That's 5. Lose to Tennessee, lose to Georgia, lose to Texas. That's 5 and 4. Let's say inexplicably he gets one of LSU, Ole Miss, and gets Florida State at the end of the year to go to 7 and 5.
Okay.
Do you want him back next year?
No.
At 7 and 5, you'd let him go.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, here's the thing.
With wins over Florida State and either LSU or Ole Miss.
I told you before the season, Billy Napier will never win at a high level at the University of Florida.
So I think you answered my question then. I think you being a Gator alum, not to put words in your mouth, I'm just deciphering what you're saying, you are past the point of no return. It literally doesn't matter what Billy Napier does.
I mean, my mind can change, but I saw the Miami game. I saw how they looked last week. This is not like Cristobal where they were okay his first 2 years, and then now they put that performance week 1. You're like, damn, Cristobal's got a real good team. I don't have that with Florida. I saw what they did against Miami. I can't get that out of my head. I can't get that they were so unprepared. They couldn't get a first down. They couldn't do anything offensively, and he was the offensive guy.
But if you said that you would fire him at 7 and 5, if your mind has not changed at 7 and 5, I got news for Gator fans. You're not going any better than 7 and 5 this year. 7 and 5 would be a ridiculously good coaching job from here on out. It means you're going 6 and 4 playing this schedule the rest of the way, where your easiest game is arguably on the road at Mississippi State. If you go 6 and 4 in the next 10 to get to 7, and in your mind that doesn't save Billy Napier, then that means that Florida's not doing any better than that in 2024. Wrap your mind around that one pretty quick. I just want to see what happens. Because I want Florida to win some games. It's better for business, better for all those involved with Gator football, including media, if Florida shows a little life. But more so because it would be the exact opposite of what happened with McElwain, Mullen, and Muschamp. When Florida fans made their minds up on those guys, nothing happened to change it. Zook, again, went into Tallahassee and beat Florida State, but he had already been fired prior to that game. If Zook hadn't been fired prior to that game, who knows? Maybe Zook would have saved his job by winning that game on Bobby Bowden Field there in Tallahassee.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here. Thanks so much for checking out our 1010XL Florida Gators page. If you're looking for more Florida content, subscribe now. But if you're looking for some professional football, NFL content, head over to our 1010XL Jaguars page.